You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unleashed. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week are...
Dave, Joe, and Mike.
Mike the Birdman Dodd.
And we have a special guest this week with us.
Hello, I'm Orie Enav.
Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
And we will explain more of why you were here in a little bit.
I like to think it's
we
more
will.
of like a hostage situation.
So essentially what you're saying is we've jailed Harry Potter.
Yeah, except I suspect that there is some Stockholm Syndrome going on because I'm kind of okay with it.
No.
All right. Maybe not Patty Hearst, but yeah.
I've told Steve this story before, and I'm going to tell it again really quickly, only because you are here, sir.
Are you going to say, man, I love being a turtle?
No. December of 2000, I just moved to Biloxi, Mississippi. I was looking.
Wow, that's a story unto itself, I think.
And, well, anyway.
He caught you there, Mike.
Shut up, Steve. So I moved from Kentucky to Mississippi. So it's one of those things where I wanted to find a bookstore because back then, 15 years ago, we actually read actual books.
Unthinkable.
Books.
I wanted to find a bookstore, and I asked one of the store workers, what's a good series to get into. She handed me Harry Potter or a former lingerie buyer turned bounty hunter.
I know which one you chose.
Oh, you know which one I chose because I've told you this story before.
I know.
And I went with the Janet Ivanovich, Stephanie Plum series, the former lingerie buyer turned bounty hunter. I've never read a single one of the Harry Potter books. The only Harry Potter joke I really know is from The Simpsons. Because I just don't care about that franchise.
But you also know nothing about it.
This because I just don't care.
Okay, you want my
anything about fucking cars, but it doesn't mean I don't appreciate them.
you want my vaguely Harry Potter related story?
Yeah.
Sure.
Vaguely.
Okay, they were casting the first Harry Potter movie when I was 11 and when I was living in the UK, and I was so upset that they didn't come to my school because I would have been so much better than Daniel bloody Radcliffe. Like, it's seriously one of the greatest regrets of my life that my parents didn't send me to a worse school just so I could be in the casting pool.
Wow.
Well, at least you weren't cast as Neville Longbottom.
Oh, are you kidding? That guy is...
That guy's ripped, though, eh? That guy is jacked. Like, holy crap.
He snapped into a Slim Jim.
That, or he, ate every protein powder at, Popeyes for, a year.
Or he took out Carrot Top.
Yeah, pretty much, because this kid is built like the fucking Terminator. It's ridiculous. This kid's a cyborg. And
This brought up Slim Jims. All I can think of is Randy Savage.
Hey, he's ripped. The only bad part is if you say eat me and then, then it gets awkward.
Oh. Damn.
I think with that we should move on.
Yeah, I think so too.
We always hit this train wreck in every episode and it's great.
It's all Dodd's fault.
Oh, absolutely.
I know. Mike even has this problem with me when I'm on other shows now.
Are you kidding me? Dodd is rubbed off so much on you, Steve. It's not even funny. Oh my god.
That sounded dirty in 4 different ways.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Are we not doing what anymore?
Phrasing. Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
I don't know.
No Archer fans in the room. Okay, no Archer fans in the room.
No.
It's the one show that I've seen a couple of episodes, but I just never got into the scene. But I probably should when I take my brief hiatus in, December. I really should just, power watch that entire series. Because that's how you get ants.
Exactly.
Do you want ants? Anyway.
So, kind of going around the table, what has everybody been up to this week?
I nearly cracked my head open this morning.
Is this some sort of a sex thing?
No. Only you would take it that way. No, This is so stupid. This is so friggin' stupid. I was sitting on the edge of the tub. I was cleaning the bathtub. Next thing I know, I go to stand up. My head goes woozy, and I can't keep my balance right. I end up falling into the tub like I'm sitting down, and my head cracks against the back wall of the bathroom, except it's not just the wall, it's the giant handicap bar, the giant metal handicap bar that's right there. And I was, thankfully, no blood, no stitches, didn't need to go to the hospital or anything like that, no concussion, but oh man, did that hurt for about 45 minutes.
Mike,
Yeah.
You're lucky you're not dead, man.
Oh,
Okay,
please.
so-
Like,
I know exactly. I know exactly what you have experienced and everything. We should probably talk after this. This happens to me all the time, and embarrassingly, always in bathrooms. So yeah, this is a thing. It's not a very big deal, but we should talk about it.
What's funny about it now is that this has happened 3 times in my lifetime. When I was, and I'm sorry, Steve, I've already started the story. I can't stop. When I was 3 or 4 years old, living in Kingston, Massachusetts, because yes, I can still park the car. We had a circular kind of apartment inside where there was 4 rooms, and you could just ride your tricycle around the rooms. We had one of those old radiators. One of my tricycle wheels got stuck on the radiator, and my head just went into the wall, and I ended up having stitches on the back of the left side of my head as a 3 or 4-year-old. Fast forward to 1995, where I'm 15. The same damn thing that happened today happened then, except I was leaning on the vanity of a sink in the bathroom, and I cracked my head on that, and that is actually on the opposite side of where the tricycle accident happened.
Am I the only one that's sad that 15-year-old incident didn't involve a friggin' tricycle? Because I thought that's where this story was.
No. But yeah, that's what's been going on with my week. I've been dealing with these lawyers with my mom's been dead almost, well, in November it'll be 6 months that my mom's been dead. And this auto accident case that she got T-boned in almost 6 years ago now is still in court limbo hell. So I'm going through all that and dealing with that and everything else. So yeah, today has been a really crappy day. Other than that, this week has been pretty awesome because we got Gotham, we got Supergirl, we got Flash, and we got Arrow. So we got 4 superhero shows in 1 week. Well, Gotham really isn't a superhero show, but you get the gist.
It's super average.
Yeah, it's super average.
Dodd?
Yeah, for me. So it's been busy because the radio station wants me to do a million different things this week. So this past week, I've had to review Halo 5, Guitar Hero Live. I'm starting my review of Rise of the Tomb Raider, Black Ops 3, WWE 2K16. I've been so ridiculously busy, it's a little bit sad. So I've been working on that. I did my annual show with the angry video game nerd James Rolfe. We talked about the Evil Dead franchise, so that was pretty cool. Let me see, what else have I been doing? Started catching up on The Flash, finally. I'm hoping to hopefully be in season 2 by the end of next week, just because I've actually got a little bit of free time now.
Where are you now?
About half, about 3/4 of the way through, season 1.
Cool.
So, catching up there. Other than that, though, it's been a lot of video games, so,
I love the 2K16 cover. Raise some hell.
You know what? This
Stone
game is
Cold on the
way
cover.
better than 2K15. 2K15 was such a joke. The roster was pathetic small. The features weren't implemented very well. This is probably one of the best 2K games I've played since, I don't know, I'd say this is almost on par with 14. 14 is probably my favorite of the last 5 years. But, yeah, it's surprisingly solid, although, oddly enough, you can play as the Terminator. So part of my entrance is I come out of the time displacement bubble, beginning of every match. And I come out to Christian's music. So that's odd, but fun, though. I finished my first pay-per-view in the game tonight. I kicked the ever-living shit out of Tyler Breeze. God, I hate that guy. Yeah, so that would be my week in a nutshell.
Alrighty. And as for myself, I took an exam in my media history and theory class this week. Got 90% on it. Don't remember anything. I don't even know how I got that grade. Because I was pretty sure I was talking out of my ass the entire time when I was writing all of the essay questions.
Man, that's how like 90% of freaking college is. It's learning how to bullshit.
Well, like, I understood enough of it, but, like, when you have to watch documentary after documentary and read book after book, like, that's not how I learn. I learn by watching the teacher do his lecture, even though it's boring PowerPoints. But because he gets animated and he actually, like, will have side conversations in geek culture during the discussion, so I pick up on the information, whereas if I'm having to actually read or watch a video, I don't retain anything. So I was rather surprised I aced it. And then, of course, recorded the first episode of the podcast, Fit.Ready.Go with my wife. Not many comments, but it's got more comments than last week's AGU, so which is one. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. She's got the podcasting bug now. Which Blanchard is like one of us.
Well, you always say, some of those times when Mike isn't around and you eventually, rip something off from his kind of thinking, it's like, oh, God, I hope your wife's not listening to this. And you're like, yeah, she doesn't listen to anything I do. And I'm like, come on, man, get her into it. At least let her, at least see if she'll want to listen to one of your shows.
Oh, my
I got
wife
her to
doesn't
admit,
listen to my shit either. So.
I know.
Well, I got her to admit she has listened to like 10, 15 minutes of a couple of them just to try it. And she's like, but you guys just talk about like TV shows and that bores me. And I'm like, get out. But yeah, so she's pretty geeked about that. She likes the health and fitness stuff. So putting it in podcast form kind of works. Plus talking to the guy that sits here with like several like things of candy or bags of chips and Coke and everything else and at my desk while I record.
I just had ice cream.
Yeah, that's my point. Like I sit here and bounce this off of her while she's talking about that. So so it was pretty good. She's already planning her next 2 episodes, so that's cool. I don't have to do any of the work besides edit and show up.
Mike, if you listen to the first episode they recorded, you'll be outraged. He has ice cream once a week.
I used to eat it every day.
My wife just doesn't buy it that often, although I probably shouldn't eat as many cheeseburgers, because evidently anything good gives you cancer now.
Bacon gives you cancer in the butt, so...
You know what? If that is the price of butt cancer, then I say bring on the double cheeseburgers. Because you know what? You don't make friends with salad. Fuck you, Blair. You don't make friends with salad.
And then, like, the last thing I did this week was I submitted a video of my... I follow, like, the Warp Zone and Birdsley Voices and people like that on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. So I watch a lot of the people that are in any of the Warp Zone videos, even if they're, like, a guest in it. And I saw that she was having she's going to do a video where she posts like other people's impressions. Like you film yourself doing an impression of anything, could be whatever. And then you just submit it because she's going to use like parts of it from everybody. And I was like, what can I do for this? And I was like, I'm at work. So like there was nobody in my building at the time. And because I would not do that with other people around. And I'm sitting there with my phone shooting this video, and I'm like, well, I can do Beast Wars Megatron, and I can do the Joker. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I did both of them, and then I've had like several comments about it since then. So
All positive, right?
oh yeah, everybody's like, holy crap, blah blah blah, and like she commented on the YouTube video and was like, she's like, that was awesome. I seriously don't know which one I'm gonna use now. So
I remember when we first interviewed David Kay, and I
yes,
tried to. This is back in the early days when Steve and I our
2008.
Well, no, it was 2009. Our
No,
chemistry.
it was 2008. It was before the network formed.
Was it?
I think.
No,
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Maybe you're right. I
Anyway,
don't know.
either way, I was like, dude, we should so have a Megatron off between you and David Kay and whatever else. And we had told him off air that Steve does the voice, and I can't remember if it's on air or off air that he said, wow, that's probably the best mimic that I've ever heard of myself. So yeah, you should be fully validated with your Beast Wars Megatron.
Oh, I was.
Yeah, that's pretty high praise.
I was pretty proud of myself after that. I was like, okay, I can do the geek happy dance now.
I don't know if we can get Mark Hamill on the show. Oh my God, I've been trying to get that guy on an interview for 6 years now.
Good luck.
I know.
It'll never happen. He's
way
in Star
too
Wars
big
now.
for us.
He's in Star Wars now. Again. So
Again, yeah.
You need to get Billy D. Williams just so we can go and Lando Calrissian.
it's a trap.
I swear to God, Mike, as soon as you said that, all I'm thinking is Hooper X from Chasing Amy.
So, I guess we should formally introduce our guest tonight, and the awesome app that he's created.
Thanks. That'll do. I'm good. Can I go now?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not awkward or nothing.
All right. Yes. Hi. Hello, world. I am Orie, as I said before. I have been working for the last 7 or 8 months putting together my website and later app. It is called DragonFruit, and you can find it at www.projectdragonfruit.com. We are a geek dating website, which is interesting, I hope, to people other than me. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
So what spawned the idea to create this?
Well, really, I mean, like all great ideas, it involved some friends, some alcohol, and some misery. One of my friends was recently single after a long relationship that he had. He got out of that. And another of my friends was like long time single. And it took us a while, but eventually me and a couple of other friends, we managed to convince them that they should try the online dating scene and go and try a bunch of apps and things. And like every week we would get together over like some board games or over watching some movie or whatever. And they would just complain about how it didn't work for them. The whole thing just sucked so bad, they said. And eventually it sort of came down to, we were trying to figure out what was going on. Like we were sitting together and we were talking about what kind of messages we could send, and we were putting our brains together. Like, we're a bunch of pretty intelligent people, we like to think and say and tell people. And so we were putting together these messages to people, and we were analyzing profiles, and we were trying to put together the best profile and figure out the best photos and everything else. And they were like, it just isn't working. The problem is that anytime I talk to somebody, and if I'm lucky enough to get a response, the second I say, they say, what do you like to do in your free time? They're like, oh, I play video games. And then it's just gone, like nothing. And they said that basically, like, why isn't there a dating website or an app out there for people like us where it's okay to be super nerdy? And I was like, yeah, why isn't there? So I did it.
Yeah, so I checked out the app, even though I it doesn't apply to me in the sense of the dating scene since I'm married happily.
Yeah,
So,
I gathered.
but I did check it out just for the just to see kind of how it worked and to see how because you don't obviously have to do it for that. You can set it up to find new friends and everything else. And so I set it up, and I kind of like how the interface to it. I don't know did you try it out, Dodd?
I did not get a chance to, but I'm actually familiar with a lot of the geek kind of dating websites. We actually have one over here in Canada. I think it's called Geek.
Yeah,
I don't know how they match people, but their algorithm is crap.
I try to make it I try not to make a habit of insulting other companies.
Well,
that's what Mike's for.
Yeah, pretty much.
I will say,
as a journalist,
I will say that I signed up for them to do my market research and everything, and I still get the notification emails from them once a day. Every morning, I get to the office, I open up my computer, and I see an email from them, and I open it and I look at it, and it motivates me every day to just attack the hell out of this thing because it kind of pisses me off.
Well, you stand at a unique point in history where everybody has a smart device, and dating has been revolutionized by apps like, Twitter for one of them, but also stuff like Tinder, and even for the gay community, I think it's called Grindr too. So
you would be right, and it would not be alone.
Yeah, so there's so much that you can accomplish by having this app available for people, because literally, who has time for dating? In fact, actually, that's how I met my wife, was via online dating when I was in college, because I don't have time to go anywhere, but I have time to check email. That I can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, of course. And the one community, you have specialized dating sites for everybody, and the one community that that's really underserved in the online dating market are the very people who are the greatest users of the internet, and the people who invented it, and the people who are revolutionizing it every day. The geeks are not being very well served by the online dating market, so I try to fix it.
And I do find that weird, because I find a lot of geeks now, it's not the way it was even 5-10 years ago. A lot of us geeks are less socially awkward, because you look at the success of geek culture that we've had in the last couple of years, with mega blockbusters like the Avengers, the Big Bang Theory. Geek is hot right now.
Absolutely, and I love
really
it.
easy to find a date, but it's not.
It's great. I mean, we really are at a turning point in the culture, I think, right now, that geek is becoming cool, and it already is cool. And the most, the blockbuster record busting movies are all superhero movies and things that, I mean, who would have ever thought that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be the biggest movie of the year that year? And it's just such a fantastic time when all of us, I guess, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the people who were so uncool in high school, those types are suddenly at the forefront of popular culture, means that it really is just a fantastic time to be a geek and to just get into all of that. And I think that given the right platform, it is so easy for the people who were pretty much resigned to living more or less solitary life because they weren't, into the right stuff, just going to be so happy and so well served, and it's great. It's really, really good.
I find it absolutely hilarious that the online dating being online is now a part of real world culture, I guess you could say. A few months ago, I was on one of the local buses going somewhere, I don't know where, and I saw these two people strike up a conversation on the bus. It was a man and a woman. They're probably both in their, I don't know, late 20s, I'd say. One of them had to get off the bus before the other one did because they were going in different directions. And they said, oh, well, they essentially traded Facebook and Twitter information. And I'm like, the old-fashioned in me is like, can't you just ask for her number, dude? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all fine with the up and coming and being hip, but just seeing it in action in the real world, just like, wow, you couldn't just ask for the girl's phone number. You had to ask for her Facebook page. Really? That's where it's gone now.
Well, more people are brave behind a keyboard and letters than actually talking to someone. This way, it gives you that layer of protection. You can choose how you want to present yourself, and that's also interesting too. By giving someone your Facebook and Twitter, you're inviting them into a fairly private space, all things considered, depending on how much you choose to share over social media. So I think that's a big deal in terms of online dating too. The fact that, yeah, here's my Facebook page, and depending on what type of person you are, that's a pretty good way for someone to get to actually know you, because that may in fact be the real you.
So yeah, when I was looking at the page itself, I like how it breaks down based on your geekdoms.
Yeah. That pretty much is the like cornerstone philosophy of the whole thing, right? So we try to match people based on what they're into, rather than some other like more superficial criteria.
What kind of face you have.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, I mean, you've got two sides of the spectrum in online dating, and most websites these days end up in either one camp or the other. It's either how good looking you are, and that's, the Tinders of the world, or how quickly you want to get married and have babies, and that's the, eHarmony side of things.
Or
think
even ChristianMingle.com.
Oh, definitely Christian Mingle.
I don't even think I've ever heard of anyone comparing eHarmony to the geek world. That's for like regular people.
Yeah. Well, but there's not that much out there when it comes to connecting on a slightly more personal level, right? What you're interested in defines who you are, what you like to do with your time, the kinds of conversations you like to have. Knowing that you have something in common with somebody before you even talk to them makes it so much easier to break the ice, which is something that I think that a lot of people, particularly in the geek community, might need. It makes it easier to connect with people, to have conversations, to get a handle on the kind of personality you're dealing with. If instead of having to do all of that guesswork, you can come right out and be like, oh, you're into the Avengers. What did you think of the last movie? Or like, here's my theory. What do you think about this? Or I think Joss Whedon was, terribly underutilized in the second movie, and blah blah blah. That's the kind of conversation that you could so easily have with somebody, especially because you're meeting on a date on a geek dating website. You know that the other person is already a sufficient level of geek that won't scare them away, and I think that that's really important. And it also means that nobody needs to hide, right? Everybody can just it's a totally even playing field. There's no need to be making things up. There's no need to be, putting up a photo of a Calvin Klein underwear model just because you want to whatever, right? Everybody's pretty much even. And I think that helps.
You're right. It does help. For me, currently, I am talking with someone, and she actually followed a lot of my stuff before we ever actually started talking. She's a huge DC Animated Universe fan, and she's a huge Lauren Lester fan.
Oh, so 2 thumbs up in Mike's book.
Yeah, exactly. And she had seen our original interview with Lauren on YouTube. This was a few years ago. We had just actually started talking on a more regular basis this past April. And we've been talking ever since. But I actually think I understand what the point of the Geek Dating app is and all that stuff, and that is very cool that you're doing that. I think for me, specifically with me and her, it's more fun for me to actually ask her what she's into and figure out if we have the same, instead of looking at some, and I'm not sitting here trying to insult you at all. I'm really not. Then just looking at a list and saying, oh, well, we have this, 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 and this, and this in common. You know, and I don't know because I haven't tried. I don't use mobile phones, so I don't even. You don't have a PC version for the app, do you?
Sure, we do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
In fact, that's what we have right now.
The beta.
Yeah, we're in beta on the website, and the apps aren't yet launched, but they will be. They're coming soon. Hopefully, by the end of the year, we'll be on iOS and Android.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, there is. I do understand what you're saying. The nature of, I think, social networks in general, and dating essentially comes down to being just a particular kind of social network. The nature of that is the exchange of preliminary information so that you have something to go on.
Right.
It's not, you know, even if everything is private on Facebook, you at least know that you have a friend in common, and that's something to go by. And I think one of the things that we really tried to concentrate on when creating DragonFruit was that you can define who you're looking for however you want. And if you just happen to have today, you want to talk to somebody who is into something that has nothing to do with what you're looking for, or what you're into, so that it's a totally different set of interests, you can just stick that into the search bar and see who comes up and see who takes your fancy. It's particularly helpful if you want to learn about something that you don't know about. You know, if you are, you know, really into the Marvel comics, but you haven't seen any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you want to know, you know, how that relates or how they differ or whatever, you can just, you know, plug that into the system, and it'll show you who has defined themselves as being into that or any subcategory thereof or anything else. I do get what you're saying. Of course I do. It is a less organic method of meeting people, but I mean, the internet isn't really an organic place.
No, it's a robotic place, but, you know, every now and then, to quote Jafar, every now and then you find a diamond in the rough.
No arguments.
But no, I mean, it sounds great. It sounds like something that a lot of people are going to be really, really interested in, and it's probably going to, more people are probably going to use that than most of the other ones, because let's face it, most of the other ones are all crap.
Now, what does the app? What is the proposed cost for the app and to use the service?
The proposed
cost and to use the service.
So it's free to use. Everything that we are doing right now, everything that is available right now is free to use. We're working on a freemium model in that all of the basic functions are 100% free, and that is way beyond the model that a lot of the specialized dating websites are using right now. So if you want to go on, you create your profile, you search through the users, you use our matching function, you send messages, you interact with people. There are basically no limits in that, and that is all completely 100% free and always will be. What we hope to, and also, at least for right now, ad-free. So what we hope to be doing in the coming year or so is to slowly develop and roll out all kinds of premium features that will not affect the underlying functionality, but will hopefully enhance your experience in ways that will genuinely add value and make the price tag worth it. What those prices are going to be, I can't speculate at this point. The features themselves, like I said, I hope they'll be the kinds of things that people actually want, and we're very interested always in making sure that what we're doing is what people want. So, you know, if anybody has any suggestions or anything like that, please do let me know. So right now what we're working on is a virtual assistant. which will be able to analyze using a huge amount of statistics that we're getting either from our own users or from external sources. We've also got dating experts who are friends of the company and who are giving us a lot of guidance. And we're going to be programming all of that into a virtual assistant that will be able to help you come up with ways of interacting with people that you may not have thought of, that will be driven by those statistics and by that advice. Help you prevent making mistakes that are very common in online dating. Sometimes even if you want it to help you craft messages or first-time messages so that you are more likely to get a response from somebody. Even go so far as to look at your various locations, you and the person you're talking to, and read your profiles and understand what you're into, and then be able to suggest a date spot that would make sense for the two of you, so that you would be able to, go out and have a good time and not have to, and just take all of the stress out of all of that. Basically just trying to make everybody's life a lot easier and take the guesswork out as much as possible. To give people the ability to interact and connect on a genuine level, rather than having to, stumble through those roadblocks that make it so difficult for people when they're usually using these kinds of dating websites. So that's one of the features we're working on right now. And because it's a huge amount of work for us and very expensive to develop, we will probably be charging some kind of fee for that. But I hope it'll be adding enough functionality and value to users that they won't mind.
When you say you're creating a virtual assistant, the only thing I can think of is that Big Bang Theory episode when Raj goes to the office of Siri.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll necessarily be basing it around. Yeah, but I think it'll be good. You see, the problem is, I think, with online dating in general, is that the same people who are good at online dating are the people who are good at dating in general. The good-looking people have a natural advantage. The charismatic, gregarious, smooth talkers, good pickup lines, whatever, obviously have an advantage. And being good at very comfortably talking to members of the opposite sex and whatever is going to work just as well online as it does in the real world. And if you are lacking some of those aspects, then you're not going to be as successful, which means that even though people tend to turn to online dating, kind of, the stigma is that it's like a last resort or whatever, even though that's less and less nowadays, it's exactly the same. So hopefully in DragonFruit, with leveling the playing field, we make it so that you don't need to have the world's cleverest pickup line. You can just talk about whatever. Or you can cut through all of the BS and maybe sometimes get a little bit of a helping hand in being able to find the person who you want to be with without necessarily being naturally good at that all on your own. Because it's hard. So we're going to try to make it a little easier.
Sounds like you guys have a pretty solid plan running for this, and
a good foundation for sure.
Yeah, and I like, for instance, I have a buddy that's a geek, and he's been trying to do run through the dating world for years anyway, as far as all those apps are concerned. And one of the main problems he runs into is they're not geeks. So, I mean, I think that, a service like this is very well, is going to be well received among other geeks, just because it's, you're filling that need that there isn't currently. So
I really hope so. I mean, I don't think that this is necessarily a problem that's unique to geeks. I think I look around a lot of the people who I know who aren't into geeky things and have these relationships that they have with people who they met through either online or elsewhere. I mean, it's just as hard. And you find that a lot of people are hiding themselves, even when it has nothing to do with geekiness, because they think that that's what their partner wants or whatever, and it's a much less comfortable life, and you can't really spend your time doing what you want to do and what you're into, and you're always trying to be better for the other person, or even worse, you're not trying to be better for the other person at all. It's weird how many couples I know who, it seems to me, really don't actually like each other very much. And that's probably because they're basing it on, we met at a bar one night, I thought he was cute or she was cute, we started hooking up, and now we're married. There's no actual personal connection basis. It's like, I vaguely tolerate you and I find you attractive and you're willing to sleep with me. Like, that's my impression of a lot of relationships, and I genuinely hope that that is not the kind of thing that people are going to find in DragonFruit, or just in life anywhere. I mean, world, be better to yourselves.
The sad thing is, what you just described is pretty much how old people are. Because, no, seriously. Because I remember years ago, before my aunt's father died, he and his wife, they slept in separate. And what you just said is exactly what young people are doing now. It's exactly, if they continue on that path of being married, it's what they're going to turn into. They're going to have separate bedrooms, separate everything, and that's just not cool at all. That's not the point. That's not the point of being in a relationship.
Yeah, but also the word relationship has evolved too. I mean, some people are, they have multiple kind of partners too, and that may be what they want. But that's a different discussion for a different day, in theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would really like to see one of those terrible reality TV shows where it's a polygamist who has his gaming wife and his comic book wife.
Dude, I know people like that right now.
That would be
Actually,
hilarious.
it works out rather well, actually. Which is kind of weird, but hey, they're happy, so party on.
That is funny.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're working pretty hard on it. There's all kinds of cool stuff coming out all the time. A thing that I should probably talk briefly about is the fact that the most important part of all of this is that you put in your geekdoms. I know, I'm sorry, Mike, but it's we put a lot of effort into it.
I didn't mean no. Like I said, I didn't mean to insult you, and that's
absolutely
that's part
not.
of the
no offense taken.
That's part of the system, and that's fine. I'm just saying where I am now.
No, I totally get it. I absolutely get it. But for us, it is important that people come into put that information into the system, because that's the way that we match things. So before we launched, I spent about a month with a bunch of other people putting together what we call the Geek Dex. And the Geek Dex is a giant database of what we try to be basically every single thing that any person can be conceivably into in any way, going from things as general as video games to things as specific as individual characters, or like science fiction alien races, or to some occasionally when it's warranted, like individual episodes of shows and video games and things like that.
People who speak Klingon.
Absolutely. And we also not only have this list, but also mapped out how each of these things relate to one another. And that's how the algorithm works, so that not only can you put in Klingon, but also if somebody, it would be really easy for us to find out somebody else who writes Klingon as their geekdom. One-to-one matching is super easy, but where it gets complicated and where it gets difficult, and where I get really proud of the work that we've done, is finding the connection between things where one person says Klingon and somebody else says Jabba the Hutt, which are wildly different franchises and different concepts and whatever, but we can still figure out what those common elements are and give that connection a value. It may not be a very strong value in that cases. So if you have somebody who is into Klingon and somebody who is into Cardassians or into, Benjamin Sisko, you are likely to find a better connection there, but we are able to map out a value for every single thing to every single other thing, and that's how we list our matches in order, which gives you the opportunity to connect to people who aren't necessarily into exactly the same thing as you are, but it's pretty close, and you'll have some kind of basis to go on, and it gets really interesting. So that's what we put a lot of effort into it. Our list has over 50,000 discrete data points. It took a long time and a lot of effort to put together, and that's what's running in the background anytime you interact with the program.
Now, one thing that I asked earlier, or at least kind of briefly touched upon, do you have the option to search for what kind of relationship you're actually kind of looking for as well? Because I know we mentioned sometimes people have multiple, they have multiple boyfriends and girlfriends. Do you have that option built in?
Absolutely. Basically, you go in and you define however you want and what you're looking for, what you are and what you're looking for. So you can either be already monogamous and therefore, not looking for a romantic partner, which is completely fine, and then you'll be seeing people who are not looking for a romantic partner if they're looking for new friends or whatever. You can say that you're non-monogamous, which means that you're kind of involved with somebody, or you're in a committed relationship but it's an open relationship or whatever. And then people who are more comfortable with that kind of arrangement, you'll be able to find that. Or you can say that you're single and therefore looking for long-term dating, short-term dating. You can say that you're only looking for new friends. You can say that you're, looking for casual sex, which is very important in the online dating world these days, even though I have to say I haven't seen that a lot on DragonFruit among our users yet. So that's encouraging or discouraging, depending on which way you look at it. You can define whatever you want. You can go onto the search page, click on advanced, and you can be looking for, non-smokers or smokers, and you can look for people who are into certain things. You can look for age ranges. You can look for, distances and stuff like that. You can honestly, we're trying to make it as free form as possible, so that when there are two distinct sections to the website. There's the matching section and the search section. Matches takes your information, runs it all through the system, and arranges the best matches in order so that you can see who is closest to you, and then you can decide based on their geekdoms, their photograph and their age, whether you want to save them in your favorites and message them, or if you want to move on to the next person who will be a slightly less good match but still in the top. And then if you go into the search section, you decide whatever you want to look for, and the system will give it to you. There's no limits.
Very awesome.
I hope so.
Yes. Do you guys have any other questions as far as the app?
Where do babies come from?
Oh, God.
DragonFruit.
Good answer. Good answer.
Maybe now would be a good time to tell the good listeners out there about a little bit about social media and stuff where they can find us.
Sure.
Yes, that would be awesome.
All right. We are on Twitter at Proj, Proj DragonFruit. You can send us things, and we always respond, and we love to talk to people and hear about their suggestions and things. Also, if you find any bugs and things, you can tweet us at DragonFruitHelp. Our website, as I said, was www.projectdragonfruit.com. Actually, we're going to be changing it in a little bit to dragonfruitapp.com, but whatever you type in will work. We're on Facebook at Project Dragonfruit. We also have a really good blog that we're constantly blogging about all kinds of stuff, about geekiness, about relationships, about dating, about all kinds of things. We've got an advice column. We've got it's hilarious. We have the least well-equipped dating advice person on the planet.
So not Ann Landers.
Not quite. No. It's hilarious. Basically, if you have a stupid question, definitely send it to Tom. He's pretty funny. And we have a columnist who writes about cosplay. If you want to get into that, if you want to learn how to do it, we have guest posts by really great experts. honestly, like we work very hard on the blog, and it is very much because we believe that investing in the community and making life better for our users in whatever way we can is really, really important. So like we don't get anything out of it. We just hope that you guys enjoy. That's also at our website at www.projectdragonfruit.com. Just click on blog. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and we would appreciate your interest and comments.
Yes, always comments. So yeah, thank you for that. That's I've actually been skimming through the blog while we were talking, so pretty interesting stuff you guys got there.
Yeah, and if you want to know the ins and outs of how a company is built and how an app is made, we've got some developer diaries out there for the more computer nerd of you out there, which I think is also makes for pretty interesting reading, but only if you're into that kind of thing. So yeah, there's also all sorts of stuff.
Yep, and I'll have the links in the show notes, of course. So be sure to check that out. Do we want to take a quick break?
Yes!
Alrighty, we'll be back right after this. So now that we're a member of Blog Talk Radio and have been for a little bit, I'd like to promote a podcast that's actually on Blog Talk Radio that's also filled with geeky discussion and geeky themed games. So they discuss the most pressing topics every week, like what superhero would you like to sleep with, and what would be your weapon of choice to fight zombies. Plus they play geeky games like Character Cage Match, Geeky Accents, and Smitten Superheroes with super fun guests from the worlds of movies, TV, web series, and comics. They have a live show every Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time at supergeekedup.com. And they also have it every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio at blogtalkradio.com/supergeekedup. Their latest episode is actually covering Back to the Future Day with time travel themed segments and games and a discussion of the new Star Wars trailer, which is actually what we're covering this week. So be sure to check them out and tell them you heard it on Altered Geek Unleashed.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. You can email us, feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at Altered Geek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show. And we're back. So, I believe TFG1 Mike had something he wanted to bring up.
So last week,
Broadway.
Yes, last week in the comments and on last week's episode when I was delirious from heat exhaustion, I had mentioned something about wanting to be able to see an act of God with Jim Parsons, Sheldon Cooper, and I said I wish there was a streaming service for this or something to be able to watch Broadway plays, because not everybody gets to Broadway and not everybody has enough money to go see all these plays. And a couple people said that on the comments, and I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not quoting, I'm not looking at the comments on last week's episode, that the reason why people don't put Broadway plays on YouTube and whatever else, because it's a limited engagement and this, that, and the other thing, everything else. Well, this week apparently Broadway is coming out with their own streaming app.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It is very
awesome.
cool. Yeah. This was dated October 26th, 2015. And I'm going to read directly from the article, folks, just so I can get it right. 2 Broadway producers have launched Broadway HD on an on-demand service that will stream recorded theater productions, as Netflix and Hulu have been doing for broadcast media, according to Variety. The service was created by Tony Award-winning Broadway producers Stuart F. Lane and Bonnie Cumley. The initial 100-plus offerings include Broadway productions of Romeo and Juliet, starring Orlando Bloom and Condola Rashad, Jekyll and Hyde, starring David Hasselhoff, and Memphis, with more to come. Many in the initial lineup are from Broadway, Worldwide's direct from Broadway's library, and from London shows which are recorded more frequently than Broadway or off-Broadway productions. Viewers can pay to watch a specific show or can buy subscriptions via month-to-month or by the year. And it goes on and on and on, and I'll have Steve put the link in the show notes, and I sent the link to you on Skype as well. This looks really cool. And the only reason why I'm even interested in it is because I want to see an act of God with Jim Parsons. So I'm hoping it's one of the initial offerings.
That's actually incredibly exciting. I am a Broadway fan, and you're gonna hate me, but I saw an act of God with Jim Parsons.
Ass.
I saw it. I don't know if it was opening night or the second night that they were running.
Oh, son of a!
It was good. It was really good.
The reason why I want to see it.
Live, though.
Well, yeah, but the reason why I'm saying I want to see it is because when Jim Parsons was on Inside the Actors Studio, James Lipton had a whole bunch of clips from an act of God, and it basically showed it like it obviously was recorded and whatever else. And yeah, it would be great seeing it live, but for someone who lives in Louisville, Kentucky and is not going to, and Jim's run at this point is now done. Friggin' Sean Hayes has it out in L.A., and I'm sorry. Replacing Jim Parsons for Sean Hayes, that's just ugh. But no, how was it live? Seriously,
it was honestly fantastic. Like, I didn't have the best seats or anything, but it was a lot of fun. It was very self-referential in the way that you really wish that all shows would be. It didn't take itself seriously at all. There are some really great moments, and the wonderful thing about it is that it's basically just a very long and entertaining monologue. And if you have a talented guy delivering it, which obviously Jim Parsons is, it was very, very good, I will have to say. But what excites me most about what you just said, because I didn't know any of this, is really cool, is the fact that they're also going to take some West End shows. Which, I mean, this is kind of it's breaking the transcontinental barrier, if you will. It's the same thing that people like. This is the reason that Doctor Who came to BBC America, because it was so popular and you could only get it on the BBC, and it was barely broadcasting in the US, and it was so popular. Like, I know I'm not the only one who is desperate to see the new West End shows as they come out, especially since, I mean, J.K. Rowling just wrote and is now starting to produce Harry Potter stage show that is going to continue the story. And I know that you guys aren't necessarily Harry Potter fans.
I'm totally into that. In fact, I'd almost go to England specifically for that.
Well, exactly. Like, I was about to book my tickets, so that is very exciting for me that I won't have to do that. And if I can just buy it off an app and watch it at home without having to go across the ocean to see my family, then I definitely...
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, that sounds really cool.
So you want to hear something really, really awesome? This whole play thing. A friend of ours who we did an interview with earlier this year, Abby Cluster, formerly Abby Collins, a.k.a. Starscream's daughter, Chris Lotta's daughter, actually posted on Facebook when the Harry Potter news came out that she's like, guys, I have the best husband in the world. Next October, I'm going to London to see Harry Potter. That's the first I heard about the Harry Potter play thing. But hey, if the Harry Potter play thing is the direction that the author is going to go in instead of another film, that's fine with me. I mean, after all,
I'd rather another film, but
yeah, because you can't get
canonical. That's what I care about.
Let us not for a moment think that it won't eventually be a film.
Yeah, it'll probably take 5-10 years.
Nah, they churn these things out. Come on, they're
Rumor
making
has
Game of
it-
Thrones, and George Martin hasn't even wrote the damn thing yet.
Fair enough.
Rumor has it that it's already being produced to a film. So
It's gonna be awesome, man. I'm so looking forward to it. Although I still hate the name of Harry Potter's kid, though.
Kind of agree.
It's so awkward to say.
I
Is it
hope
Flopper?
this.
Yeah, honestly, I just call him Al. Then again, Al Potter does not sound as impressive as Albus or whatever.
I'm really hoping that Harry Potter's son ends up exactly like Al Bundy and married with children.
Harry
Married
Potter
with-
and the Cursed Shoe.
Harry Potter
More and more,
is absent for this episode.
more and more I hear about this Harry Potter play. All I can think of is Spider-Man in the Dark or whatever that Spider-Man play was.
Turn off the dark or some shit.
Turn off. Yeah,
Uh,
turn off the dark. I was going to say, are you afraid of the dark?
Turn out the lights.
To be fair, though, that Spider-Man play was amazingly fucking bad. I've had friends that have gone several times because it was so terrible. That's the kind of train wreck you pay to be a part of.
Hmm.
Only you would.
You damn right I would. I just want to heckle. This is why I'm not allowed in the nicer theaters.
I thought it was from choice wording that you'd yell in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, that too.
So, getting into the last topic of the night, Google Music is now going to have podcasts.
That's interesting.
And I saw that news come out earlier this week, and I'm like, great, another service I have to submit stuff for.
Yep, have fun with that.
Funny thing is, I got the entire GCRN lineup already submitted.
I guess you've only have the one thing for Twig, so I presume it does it by RSS feed.
Yeah, and after the big switchover, I'm going to have to change the actual RSS feed, so it's not a huge deal. It's just because now that I figured out where iTunes has it hidden, I can actually get a support submission going for it. It's not too difficult now, but I still don't like iTunes. I hate Apple and iTunes with a passion.
Can we save your Apple hate for next week, please?
I like Apple,
I'm not-
but I don't much care for iTunes either.
It's more so iTunes. I can deal with Apple. It's the iTunes, and I hate the iPhone. Like, anytime somebody has to deal with that at work, I hate dealing. I'm like, go away, go give it to somebody else.
And you hate the computers, and you hate the company, and you hate the car, and you hate the maps, but you've got no problem with Apple.
I can use their computer because we have to use them for editing and media class. I hate their mobile devices more so, and I hate iTunes. That's it. Their computers are actually not that bad.
Computers are the bomb, yo.
Yeah, if you can afford them. I got a PC that's got the same processing power as the ones I just bought, and I bet you I spent a third of the cost.
Yeah, I had to take out a loan when I went to school back in 2006 to buy my first MacBook at $8,000.
Jeez.
But I also had Final Cut on that thing too, so.
I got Premiere, which is what they're all using now. They don't even teach Final Cut anymore in college. When I started that degree, they taught Final Cut. Now they teach Premiere.
Y'all should be learning Avid, but that's when you.
Yeah, well, that's what they said, but they, for whatever reason, decided to go Premiere.
Well,
so.
It's basically the same thing, but this is a discussion for a different day.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so what happened there is yeah, I'll leave the iTunes thing alone. Sorry, it's one of those pet peeves I have with that stuff. But no, I'm kind of glad that Google is entering the podcasting market now, so that there's an actual and something reputable that's not Zune.
I loved my Zune only because it had a friggin' FM tuner in it. I still have my Zune, actually.
That's funny. Well, the funny thing is when Zune was still a thing, I had people asking me to submit the podcast to the Zune network, and I'm like, do people even use that?
I never got the Zune network to work.
Huh.
Because its program was so clunky.
I got it to work. It wasn't that bad. The program crashed a lot trying to submit. iTunes just takes forever to load. So yeah, that was about the gist of it. But anyways, I submitted everything. It got okayed. Just pending them to actually start that part of their music department.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. So I guess before we close it out, we'll go around the table and let everybody kind of promote whatever they got coming up this week. TFG1 Mike, go ahead and start the runaround there.
Let's see. We've got a new M-Wire episode coming up this week, episode 124. We've got the pull bag is going to have a double shot. The first episode will be Transformers Last Stand of the Wreckers. The second episode will be Back to the Future #1 from IDW, where Steve and I celebrate 60 years to the day when Doc Brown fell off the toilet and created the flux capacitor. So that's what's coming up with that. We've got the GCR top 10 Star Wars countdowns coming up as well.
As the top 100?
No.
That's coming up too.
Yeah, the top 100 TV shows is coming up too as well. Let's see. Optimus Soul and I are just digging our heels into the She-Ra show for Myths of Etheria, so we're reviewing that. Just people, go to geekcastradio.com. We've got almost 7 years worth of content.
And Dodd?
Well, let me see. This weekend I am hopefully going to record a pair of botched rolls. I know I've been talking about it for a while, but finally got the time to do her to replace the ones we lost in the hard drive crash. Might talk about Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu, since it is Halloween on Saturday, so I might talk about scary RPGs. There's a new prototype up on the site right now, which Jamie and Tiffany went to the Nintendo event down in Toronto on this past Wednesday, so they had fun doing that. And I'm working on, like I said, on my review of WWE 2K16, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, the Juggernog edition, which is sold out everywhere. And Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I should have that review. I think my embargo lifts on the 9th, so I should be able to talk about it then.
And Ori, what do you have coming up this week?
This week, I am going to spend this weekend down in Washington, D.C. at Anime USA, the big anime convention at the Marriott by the Zoo. So I'll be wearing my DragonFruit t-shirt, and if anybody wants to come and talk to me or punch me, I guess, they're most likely to be able to do so when I am down at that convention. Other than that, on Tuesday, I will be live, which is very scary for me, on Girls on Games, the Twitch stream / show thing. That is going to be Tuesday night, so if you want to hear more of my sultry voice, you're welcome to tune into that. But other than that, that's what I have. I'm just working along.
What about you, Steve?
I don't do anything. No,
Right.
I'm working on something for the website behind the scenes, among other things. Going to be recording another episode of my wife's podcast in the coming week, or probably sometime this weekend. She's pretty geeked towards it now. See what happens when Mike is like, hey, and the funny thing is he brought this up a year ago. He's like, you need to bring your wife on a podcast.
Well,
and she's and I'm like, yeah, she'll never go for that. And now she's like, I want to do a health podcast. And I'm like, okay.
Let's back this up just a little bit. And I know that the show has been going on long enough, but let's just back this up a little bit and give everybody a little bit of behind the scenes things. A year ago, you were a little bit frustrated with the direction that Altered Geek was going. And I suggested that you add something to it for geeky parents. And you have you and your wife come on for, a 5, 10, 15-minute segment, however long you want to do it, and you guys talk about being new parents. Because at the time, it was just Ian's, first birthday at that time? I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's one of those things where I thought that getting Mary involved in it would allow you to have more enjoyment out of whatever direction you were going to take the show in at the time. So that's how all of that happened.
And now she is going to podcast. She actually said, and it's funny now, she's like, I would actually join you on one of your episodes, but I couldn't talk about TV or movies because I'm a blank slate after I watch them. Because literally, we just caught up on Heroes Reborn from last night, and
she already doesn't remember.
She doesn't remember, and I'm like,
you essentially have a Drew Barrymore on your hands when it comes to TV.
I tell you, dude. I tell you, she can't remember any movie or any TV show we watch. I'm constantly like, she's like, what happened here? What happened to this person? What's going on here? And I'm like, we just watched it last week. Like, you don't remember? She's like, I have to like blitz watch shows. Like, I can't sit there and watch week to week and keep track. And I'm like, well, it drives me nuts because I'm like, I'm already behind by the next episode. So I'm like, I gotta watch these. I cannot be behind. OCD setting in. So yeah, that's basically what's going to be going on with me. So
I think we ought to have Optimus Prime close the show to kind of hint towards the direction of GCRN.
What? Are you saying Transform and Roll Out or Transform and Transcend?
No. Well, you could use Transform and Transcend. I was thinking more of Light Our Darkest Hour.
Oh. Or Transformation, Revelation, and Space Machine?
No.
So with that, go ahead and pimp your guys' Twitters and your contacts, and then we'll close it out.
You can follow me on Twitter. I am at TFG and Mike.
I am on Twitter at SCP21.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Birdman Dodd, where I constantly post incessantly. Because, hey, I'm just that interesting.
And I am firstly on www.projectdragonfruit.com, on Twitter, ProjDragonFruit, and on Facebook, Project Dragonfruit. And if you want to follow me personally, Orie Enav on Twitter and Facebook. But I'm not as interesting.
You never know. You might get a following and then be like, I remember those little people that I talked to, and
yeah,
it'd be like the next Tom from MySpace. I said Facebook.
Oh no. Okay, folks, we really need to get out of here now.
He made a fucking
MySpace Tom reference.
Hey, at least he wasn't a scumbag like the guy that runs Facebook.
I heard a thing lately about Tom from Facebook. Somebody in a podcast that I listened to, somebody wrote in and was like, hey, whatever happened to Tom from Facebook? And a bunch of research was done. Apparently he's still around. And also like very, very funny if you can find him and just constantly making MySpace jokes.
Yeah, at least he was smart. He sold it to Fox for $500 million. That's why Fox cancels all their shows. But anyways, with that, until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
MySpace turned into a Dodge, dead or dying garage equipment.
Makes it more authentic.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Oh, speaking of, how do we feel about colorful language?
Okay, as long as you're fine with it, we're fine with it.
Definitely fine with it. I need to
I know Birdman is the connoisseur of it, so.
I am an artist in vulgarity. Get it right.
Yeah. Right.
Get the pillow off of your face.
Oh.
Yeah. Why is Snowball smothering you?
Yeah, sorry. I put my iPad case on my thing, so sorry.
That just doesn't sound right at all.
I just didn't want the cat to walk across my iPad, so. We're good though. We're good. We're working now.
eye patch.
Do I still sound good though? I'm mostly worried about interference. But I sound steady, not garbled or anything?
Sure.
Okay, good.
You're not the echoing Dodd this week, so we're good.
Good! Because I'm playing Halo 5 at the same time. So.
Oh, God. You and your multitasking.
Fucking A.
As far as the cursing goes, I saw something earlier this week on Facebook. It's one of those SoMe or whatever the hell just little card image things.
Those meme things.
Yeah, the meme things. And one of them says, you call them swear words. I call them sentence enhancers.
You're average nerd.
It's average geek. It's all-encompassing.
Well, I mean, I've had to learn an awful lot about anime and manga and stuff over the last little while. So, I mean, I don't know if that'll go over the head of most of the listeners.
I'm probably the only one here who knows what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to that stuff.
Okay, so that's fine. It's an area that I'm a lot less comfortable with. So I will inevitably be finding myself making references and having to come up with examples. So I just need to know what.
Yeah, the extent of my knowledge of anime is Dragon Ball Z. So,
and that's better than me. I mean, I've literally never seen a single one. So.
Oh,
I just need to know the terminology, but beyond that, I just haven't had time. I know that it's a thing. I definitely know it's a thing, but I haven't invested the time.
We'll make a passing note about the gem thing, but I am
Oh
not...
my god, can we please talk about that?
No, I can't, because I just can't, because I have not seen the movie. I want to go in blind for when I eventually do it for Showtime Synergy. If you guys want to talk about it,
Mike,
you're more than welcome to.
Well, we're not.
It's a cinematic fucking train wreck. Don't worry, there ain't much to spoil.
But I want to go in with a fresh opinion and make my own judgment on it. I don't want to, I've read a few reviews and I've read a few things, but I don't even remember half of them now.
I should have been recording all of this. This would have been gold.
I have
Mike,
been.
if you come back as a fan, our friendship is over.
I've got about 6 minutes of it so far, Steve.
I thought friendship was magic.
No. But it's
On
not
that note,
truly outrageous, okay?